Okay, so the skeleton is complete, and this should be now ready to start the skin weighting process. But now we have finished the skeleton, we can duplicate it and save it off to start the rigging process too. We will duplicate it, and that will then form the basis for the rig. Okay. Before we start the skin weighting and the rigging process, there's just a few minor details to tidy up. So as you can see, we have the geometry. That's the group there, and that's the geometry is referenced in. As you can see, it's got the geo underscore prefix, and so that's the group which contains all the separate bits of geometry. Okay, so that's referenced in, and we've also set up the bind skeleton, which will ultimately, the geometry will be skin weighted to this skeleton. And rather have these two free floating, I find select them both and group them together and call this bind underscore grp. But whenever you're setting up a group, I always give it the suffix underscore grp, and that will keep it nice and organized when you reference it in as well. Okay. So let's save that file, and we will also break away this skeleton and save it in the rig file ready to start the rigging process, which will be a new series of videos. Okay, so to save this off as a rig skeleton, first of all I'm going to detach the geometry. I just want the skeleton on its own. We will be referencing in this bind file, and the geometry will come with that, so we don't need it in the rig file. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the reference editor, and you can see that's the geo being referenced there, so you can select it and just go to reference, remove reference. So you can also, if there's any foster parent, just delete that, and you're left with just the pure skeleton itself. Okay. So let's now that this is being prepared for the rig, I'm going to change the prefix from bind to rig itself. Okay, so I'm going to use the WP rename tool, select the top hierarchy, do a search for bind underscore, and replace it with rig underscore, replace the whole hierarchy, and there you can see that now this is set up ready for the rig skeleton. Okay, so that's now ready. We can save that in the rig file, and we can start the rigging process, the IKFK and all those kind of things. So I'll just go to File, Save Scene As. Don't forget, this is the folder structure, so we've got Geo, which is just the geometry. The skin folder is where the skeleton and the skin weighting happen, and the geometry is referenced in there. And then in the rig, I can call this Frankie, and that will it's now ready to start the rigging process.